Hey readers, thanks for tuning in to Books in the Park. Beautiful summer day, although we are expecting a little rain, so wanted to get out and give you guys an update on what I've been reading. I guess maybe I'll just link back to some things I talked about recently that I was reading previously. I finished In Cold Blood, which I think I mentioned last time. I was a little not iffy, but I wasn't sure how I felt about it previously. I think the book starts off, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's I guess like a true crime, I guess the original maybe true crime book. And the book starts off really kind of giving a background of the victims, and I thought that that was very compelling. And then it spends a certain amount of time kind of giving background of the murderers. And for a while there, I felt kind of like, oh man, this is like almost too sympathetic of these guys. But then I felt like after like my last video, I felt like it really tied everything together. And it was, well, one, it's beautifully written. It, I think, is a snapshot of society, of a point in time, and I think it ultimately is a very beautiful book. I haven't really read, that I remember anyway, read any other sort of true crime books. It's not a genre that I'm particularly interested in, and this book didn't make me interested in it. Like moving forward, I don't want to, it's just not a genre for me. But it is a great book. I think that there's something quintessentially like American about it, something very beautiful about it. I think actually poignant in many ways. It felt contemporary, even though it was about a particular, like a snapshot of American history also. So a great one. I'm sure many of you have read it, but I'm glad that I got through it and enjoyed it very much. I did also end up finishing Coraline, which is just an absolute joy. Just beautifully written. I love that it takes young people seriously enough to write something so amazing for them. And I think it's very much a book that fits into sort of the category of like The Hobbit, where it's enjoyable as an adult to read, but also I wish that I would have read it when I was a kid. But like when I read The Hobbit as a kid, it was just such an incredible book. And I think those sorts of those sorts of fantasy books, or I think that Coraline is maybe more of a fairy tale, but nonetheless, I think that when those books are very good, at least for me, they create a world that you can fill in the blanks on. And I think that's something that also The Hobbit did very well. It's a beautiful world, and yet we as the reader fill out the details. And I think that a lot of books, modern books, but also speaking of The Hobbit, I felt this way about The Lord of the Rings also, and then the Silmarillion, is that there becomes this need to fill in all the details for the reader. And it's just like, sometimes the basic world building is more enjoyable as a reader. We don't have to be told everything. We don't have to be told the history of everything. We can engage it where it is and enjoy it where it is. And my daughter loved the book. I love the book, and I couldn't recommend it more highly. Okay, change gears a little bit. I also read Pyramid of Success by John Wooden. He has a lot of books talking about the pyramid. This one was a combination of him going through each of the various building blocks of the pyramid. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, the Pyramid of Success is just basically John Wooden, who is the winningest or has the most championships of any college basketball coach of all time. He was a coach at UCLA. That's where I went to college. And basically the pyramid of success is just a reflection on the things that have helped him and his teams and his players be successful. And each level of the pyramid sort of builds to the overall success of the individual and the team. And it had been, I don't know, maybe 15 years since I really looked at the pyramid of success very much. So I just wanted to like get back into it a little bit. I always enjoyed it. And this was just a quick read, probably not very much more than 100 pages, but gives a really good overview. And he's a very plain written writer, plain spoken writer, straightforward. I think a lot of times like self-help and business kind of books, there's maybe like one or two nuggets of like valuable information and then like 200 pages of just them like rambling on. And Wooden is not like that in his writing style. And this particular version of it, he talks about each one of the pyramid, the blocks of the pyramid, and then a co-author sort of talks about the religious connections. Wooden was a religious man, and you know that aspect of it isn't really for me, but I think it's written in a way that I think religion at its best is trying to help people be better, and I think that this is very much written in that way. So I do want to read some other Wooden, so I'll probably be reading another one in the near future. But this is a good place to start, although you know, not like I said, not super in depth, but a quick read nonetheless. And then what else did I read? I've been reading so many things. I want to refer to my notes here real quick. Oh, I just finished a book called Saturn Run, and back in the sci-fi genre. And this one was really fun. I actually listened to it, and so basically it's a near future Earth. I think it's like 2060s or 2070s. China and the United States are competing to move out into space, and China's getting ready to go to Mars, and the Americans discover that some sort of alien craft has basically gone to the rings of Saturn, stopped, turned around and left. And so the book is basically a competition between the Americans and the Chinese to try to get there first to figure out what's going on. Now, the thing that I enjoyed about it is that I don't know how accurately scientific it is, but it has more of like a scientific bent to it. There's not like fantastical technology. There's technology that we don't have today, but it doesn't feel like it's just like somebody, waving a wand and then there's magical technology. So it was very much more in the sort of genre of like Andy Weir, and like I didn't like it as much as I liked Project Hail Mary, but it had more of that feel where it was science fiction, but it was existing in our world, and I tend to like that kind of a thing. And especially the sort of first half of the book, it's really kind of nerdy, which I enjoyed. The characters are great, the story is fun, and I really liked it. So check that one out. And the audio version of it was great. I found that one on Libby. Just listened to it. I had a long car ride, so that was the one that I listened to. All right, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. The last one that I finished is called Children of Time. And this one is actually also science fiction. And it takes place in the future. And in this future, humans have started terraforming other planets. And while this is just getting underway, there are rebel groups on Earth that believe that we should not be terraforming, that are against scientific progress, and there's basically a civil war on Earth while this terraforming project starts. And this war ends up putting into question the future of these terraforming projects. And so what we do is we, as the reader, follow humans out in deep space that are on a part of these terraforming projects. And this incident happens on Earth and basically, I don't want to say creates chaos, but changes the plan for these terraforming projects. And so it's a great book. It's one of my favorite books of the year. It is one that, and I think when science fiction is at its best, it creates an ambivalence in the reader. I am someone who loves technological advancement, thinks that we should be trying to move forward scientifically, but a good science fiction book makes you also question that belief, question that thought. Like, there are positives with the terraforming, but at the same time, there are questions of humans, acting as gods. The AI is very powerful. There is genetic manipulation, and I think that the author presents this story in a way that felt very human. And from the sort of the rebel group, rebelling against this on Earth and the war going on, to the interpersonal interactions of the people that we follow through the story. I think that he captures human psychology very well, and I think that, these are issues that on a lesser degree, on a more local level, that we're debating now in our society. And so I just thought it's just a great book, and it actually propelled me into my next read, which I'm currently reading, which is the second book in the series called Children of Ruin. So it also follows these individuals that have moved out to work on this terraforming and sort of the remnants of the original story, but with a new set of characters, because these stories take place over a vast amount of time, because terraforming takes thousands and thousands of years. That many of the characters would sleep for generations, throughout the story. So anyway, the book that I'm reading now, Children of Ruin, picks up on that, and it's I couldn't recommend it more highly. It's a great series. It's like I said. I guess that I'm getting more and more into science fiction, but even as someone who maybe isn't like a big science fiction person, I think it's super approachable, has a lot of really interesting concepts and ideas to ponder as you're reading. So Children of Time, and I'm in the middle of Children of Ruin. I'll let you know how that goes. In addition to that, I also started reading or listening to The Lost City of Z, which is, I think, pretty famous. There's a show or a movie about it that I have not seen, but it is basically, it's like an adventure story, an explorer story. So far, I'm like 5 or 6 chapters into it, and it reads like fiction. It's fun, it's interesting, and I think that from my perspective, nonfiction, that's basically the best way of reading nonfiction, is for it to feel like there's a through narrative. It sort of has elements of Indiana Jones and, okay, maybe it's not that campy, but it is very, very interesting. It's a great one so far. I'm enjoying it. I'll talk more about it when I finish it. But Lost City of Z, Children of Ruin, what I'm reading now. What are you guys reading? Reading anything good lately? What are you planning on reading moving forward? Let me know in the comments. like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for tuning in, and happy reading.